Gaslighting, you don't want us to fix it. You don't want us to fix it. Like, that's how y'all voted. That's what y'all said. Like, read the room, bitch. Oh, Black Lives Matter, Mexico freed the slaves, yada yada yada, ray. None of that shit's fucking working. Y'all don't want us to fix it, and we got the memo, bitch. 2024, it's understood. Like, so what's up? Like, that shit's not working. It's been stopped working, actually. You're just repeating the same shit from the original oppressors. Like, nothing new. Cause every time I turn around, y'all harassing black folks. For why? We didn't do nothing to y'all. The fuck? And we definitely didn't vote for you. If we could, I don't think we'd be sitting here. Huh? Yeah. Y'all stop with the...
They tried to tell us that Black Lives Matter and that white people have always...
No man in the history of the internet has gotten as far with little to no, I'm just going to say no talent, and only 4 things that they give a fuck about than Tom McDonald. Congratulations, Tom. I really, I'm gonna celebrate. You getting the Denzel. Because never in the history of sound has one bitched so fucking much about some shit that literally, he could just ignore. Just leave it alone. They try to tell me that Black Lives Matter. What in the is the difference between this song and the other 50 fucking songs you've made about not understanding what Black Lives Matter means? What else, Tom? Tom, have you ever done a motherfucking freestyle that didn't include trans people, Black Lives Matter, Charlie Kirk's nuts, or how cancel you are? Have you ever made a song where it's just a motherfucking it's you, a hot beat, and a fucking freestyle? No. You know why? Because you have a shtick. That's it, Tom. I have tried to tell you this, Tom. I have done my absolute best to try to give you a hint, throwing a hint. At this point, I am now throwing boulders at your ass. Tom, you don't understand Black Lives Matter. Stop talking about it. Just fucking stop talking about it. Unless you want to get educated, stop talking about it. If you think people are saying white people are villains, that means you got something in your motherfucking system, because nobody said that. And speaking of which, white people don't fucking exist, because white is not a country. It's a concept. My man Tattoo Congressman just talked.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from whatever you're watching us from, brothers and sisters. Seeing this white man say what he said, there's a couple of reasons as to why black people really find it so much difficult to fight for you white folks. Because how can you tell me, with you as a person who has lived in the United States, you know what black people have gone through, you understand the black American history, but again, you still go ahead and go say that black lives does not only matter, all lives matter. It's not like black people are trying to say that all lives doesn't matter. We are talking about the real issues. We are talking about systemic issues that are happening about black people. And again, a big question, is it a problem really if black people fought for themselves? I mean, is it a problem? Right? These are a couple of things that makes it so much hard for black people to go on the streets. It makes it so much hard for black people to fight for all these other group, because this is what they do. When they are at the comfort of their lives, they don't see the significance of having a black person. This is a black man's history. Black people are just saying that Black Lives Matter. Is it a problem to you? How does it bother you? Are black people not human beings? When black people say that Black Lives Matter, do they say that white lives doesn't matter? I didn't see that. But rhetorically, you insinuate that that's what black people are saying. This is one of the highest gaslights that I've never seen ever before. Remember, scholars like Tim Wise, scholars like we have also black professors that have addressed these issues, the gaslight that these people have towards black people. Every time they're usually obsessed with black people. And then you want black people to go and protest for you. I don't think that's going to work. Not with the watch of black people. Because now you are proving that you are the problem. This is what you do, and you do it best. This is just what you do, and this is you. This is what you do best. To deflect, to gaslight black people. Brothers and sisters, I was really questioning so much to what point that this person comes to talk about black people in this way. How does it affect him if black people speak for themselves? Those are the questions that definitely I would like to ask. But there is one thing that stands out. Black people, you are your only black person friend. Black people doesn't have a friend only if it benefits the other group. That's when they start recognizing black people. But when they get at the comfort of everything they want, you start to see their true colors. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to watch the video and then I'll be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this.
Told you. You don't understand trans people? Why don't you go and hang out with them? Go talk to them. Hold a conversation. You will find, oh my God, they're just like me. No, you're not going to do that. What you're going to do is bitch, moan, and complain about the same 4 fucking subjects. Nobody can cancel you, Tom. Nobody wanted you in the first place. You're an Amazon delivery that showed up at somebody else's fucking house and they didn't order the motherfucker. Never in the history of sound has one man gotten so far with little to no, heavy on the no talent. You just a 10-pack of ass. Every time I see you, you a 10-pack of ass, Tom.
When I observe these armchair activists and these internet revolutionaries basically fighting with people who are on the same side as them, I have to remind myself of the correct term to describe these people. Useful idiots is what they're called. The term useful idiot or useful fool is a derogatory term in political jargon that describes someone who believes they are fighting for a particular cause without fully understanding the consequences of their fight or their advocacy, and are thus very easy to manipulate by that cause's leaders or by other political players, right? So think about that when you think of people like the Bernie Bros. Think about that when you think of people who say that we should abolish the entire criminal justice system, including prisons and jails, and we should set everyone free who is currently incarcerated. Everyone who is currently incarcerated, with no distinction for who is a violent, child-harming mass murderer and someone who was just, possessed a couple of grams of weed, right? Think about those individuals who use the internet and weaponize buzzwords and weaponize political and psychological jargon to argue with people on the same side as them on the internet and on social media. Useful idiots. They never want to stop and think about the full consequences of what they're arguing for, and thus they're actually very useful to people on the other side of the political spectrum, right? Think of the useful idiots on our side over here who tell us things like voting doesn't matter and voting doesn't mean anything. These useful idiots, the folks on the other side, no matter how disenfranchised or disillusioned they are, no matter how violent their political rhetoric is, they never, ever say something like voting doesn't matter and voting doesn't make a difference or doesn't change anything. Never. All the way down to the basement dwelling, red pill swallowing incel podcast, bro. They don't say that. Useful idiots, useful fools. Their idiocy ends up working for the other side more than it works for the side that they claim to be on. These useful idiots who only start caring about political issues when a presidential election rolls around. But in the 4 years in between a presidential election, they're absent. They're gone. They're disappeared. Ask them of anyone who is in their local government. Ask them who works in their mayor's office. Ask them if they know anyone who sits on their local zoning board, their local school board. Ask them if they know the names of their local district court judges. Ask them if they even know which district court they're supposed to go to if they get a traffic ticket. Ask them which circuit court they are a part of based on their zip code. Ask them who sits on their city council. Ask them who is their district manager based on their zip code within their city. Ask them these questions and they will draw a blank. Ask them when was the last time they attended one of those publicly held meetings or whether they ever voted in one of those issues on a particular local ballot, and they draw a blank. They just stare back at you in silence in their useful idiocy. I do not engage with these useful idiots. I pay them no mind, and I call them armchair activists and internet revolutionaries because I minored in anthropology. And if you studied anthropology or even took one little anthro class, then you remember the term armchair anthropologist, which also sort of derogatorily described anthropologists who claimed to be anthropologists and wrote these long dissertations on groups of people and societies and cultures that they never actually lived or experienced or witnessed firsthand. They wrote these anthropological observations from the comfort of their armchairs in front of their fireplace in their majority white country, right? So I'm drawing on that term. And if you studied anthropology or even sociology, then you would know where I'm getting that from. And as someone who has studied soc and anthro, and then went to law school, that's where I'm getting that from. These internet activists, they talk about burning the system down and revolution is the only way to go. Okay, all right. Do you study history? Do you know what happened in places like Russia and France after revolutions occurred? Do you think that in that power vacuum that is developed or created after a revolution, good people are the ones who rise to power? Is that what you think? You know what I mean? You start asking these really deep questions. You start asking, well, in a revolution, do you have any idea what would happen to disabled people? How would we transport them? What would happen to elderly people? What would happen to children? What would happen to the sick and the infirm? In a revolution, the first thing this government would do is cut the power and cut the water supply. So do you have any tactics or strategy for moving supplies and medicine across enemy lines or into enemy territory so people don't starve or so we don't experience a siege? Do you have any tactics for that in this almighty, glorious, mythical revolution? And if throwing Molotov cocktails is the way to go, then you first. Why aren't you boots on the ground in Minnesota right now doing exactly that? Why are you still shouting at me behind the comfort of your phone screen in the comfort of a majority blue city in a majority blue state? You know, lead by example. Useful idiots, useful fools. All they're full of is hot air. They're never wrong, so they don't take correction. They don't absorb or listen to feedback. They operate in black and white binaries where two things cannot be true at the same time. So they are incapable of walking and talking and chewing gum all at once. So they'll tell you something like, both sides are just as bad. Both Democrats and Republicans are just as evil. You're choosing one lesser evil for the other. And then when folks who actually have to live with the consequences of these elections, folks who are minorities, folks who live in majority red states, folks who are disabled, folks who live in rural areas tell you, okay, fine, I'll take the lesser fucking evil because that means I'll be able to get fucking healthcare. They don't want to hear that either. So there's no nuance. There's no complexity. It's just here, there, yay, nay, up, down, no ifs, ands, or buts. Useful idiots. Do not engage with them. Do not pay them mind or attention. Do not stream them. Do not argue with them. You're better off probably arguing with a brick wall, honestly. Block them. Censor them. Remove them from your networks and make sure that your organizing and your political strategy and your values aligned with people who are similarly placed as you are, people who have or share similar identities as you, because it is our bodies, it is our physical bodies that become the repositories for these political acts, for these methods of public policy. We actually have to live with these fallouts. Those of us who are women, those of us who are immigrants, those of us who are minorities, who are disabled, who are elderly, who are LGBTQ+, who live in rural areas, who live in majority red areas. We actually have to live with the fallout of these elections. And we understand more than anyone else that elections have consequences. So we don't waste our time arguing with people who are on the same side as us. Don't argue with them. Ignore them, censor them, and block and delete them immediately because they are nothing more than useful idiots.
You know, it's funny because a lot of people think that empathy is the cure to racism, that if we just understand where these people are coming from, everything will magically get better. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Empathy, when it's selective and dishonest, actually helps racism survive. And I know that sounds backward, but just stay with me, okay? What happens is this. People are taught to feel empathy only for people who look like them or live like them or vote like them. So when racism shows up, it doesn't feel cruel to them. It feels reasonable. They're not empathizing with the people being harmed. They're empathizing with their own fear. So you'll hear this all the time. They're just scared, or they feel like they're losing something, or that you have to understand their frustration. Understand what exactly? Because that empathy is never extended to Black and brown people who are losing their lives and their rights and their safety. It's reserved for the discomfort of the group already holding the most power. And that's how racism gets framed, not as violence or injustice, but as a tragic emotional reaction. Then there's another layer, a more dangerous one. People are taught to empathize with the things that aren't even true. They're told that immigrants are taking everything and that Black people get some sort of special treatment. And they're told that white Americans are the real victims now. So now empathy isn't just selective, it's misdirected. You're caring deeply about a story that was manufactured to keep you angry. And when empathy is built on lies, it doesn't humanize anyone. It just justifies harm. And here's the biggest problem of all, right? Empathy without accountability. Some folks think saying, I understand why you feel that way, is the end of the conversation, and it's not. Understanding someone's fear does not mean validating their prejudice. You can understand someone's pain and still say the belief born from it is wrong. But racism survives because too many people stop at understanding and refuse to go any further, right? No challenge, no correction, no self-reflection. Real empathy asks harder questions. Who is actually being hurt? Who benefits from this system? Why does my fear matter more than someone else's survival? And that's the part many people don't want to face because it requires giving something up. Comfort, innocence, the lie that racism is just misunderstanding. So let's be clear. Empathy doesn't automatically make you moral. Selective empathy protects racism. Empathy fed by lies fuels racism. Empathy without accountability excuses racism. Only empathy that's honest, informed, and willing to confront power can dismantle it. Anything else just makes racism.
America is full of a bunch of spineless people. Like, how are you still going to work? How are you walking through checkout in line and acting like everything is okay? How do you do that? How do you separate the evil, the true evil that has been exposed, and go about your day to day? How do you look at yourself in the mirror knowing that our fucking school photos was a menu, was their lunch menu? How do you go to work knowing that they were stuffing infants with cream cheese? How do you... I've never been so upset with my nation as a whole. I don't know how the streets aren't on fire. I don't know how we aren't rioting. I really don't. The world is watching right now as we do nothing. And whatever we dictate is good here is gonna set the stage for the rest of ever. So if we let them get away with this at this point right now, the atrocities that will come tomorrow, income.
White Americans are insidious and they are dangerous to non-white people. Their ancestors literally crafted a reality for them where they are blind to the reality and the long-term effects of slavery and white supremacy and colonialism and discrimination against non-white people. And then now that they are so blinded from that, anytime a POC or a black person speaks on the long-term effects of slavery and racism and white supremacy and discrimination in this country, they say, you're just mad because you're poor. The only reason that they think that a black person would want to speak on the long-term effects of racism and slavery is because they want to blame white people because they're poor. I could have $1 billion in my pocket and I would still have to contend with the reality of the long-term effects of white supremacy, colonialism, and slavery. It might not affect me if I had more money, but I would still see it because I'm black. Y'all are the ones that are blind to it, whether you have money or not, because you're white, because that's the reality that your ancestors created for you. They wanted you to have blinders on. They wanted you to not be able to see the reality of the society and sit around and say, I don't see color. You don't see anything. And y'all are ideologically dangerous, and why would we want to kumbaya with people like y'all? When y'all say, I want peace and I don't want people to be divided, and in the same breath, you're literally invalidating people's reality just because you can't see it, but your ancestors didn't want you to. Every decision they made was so that you would not understand it. Segregation, de facto segregation, existed because they didn't want you to see the realities of it. They didn't want you to hear from real black people. They didn't want you to understand the depths of this situation. And to sit around and minimize such a big and important topic to, you're just mad because you're poor. You act just like your ancestors.
The government is trying to dehumanize us by taking away any independence that we had and letting us think that it's our idea. And I think the Super Bowl ads prove that. Now, this is a half-baked take, but as I was watching the Super Bowl commercials yesterday and I saw like my 8th AI ad and like my 3rd GLP-1, I was just like, they don't want us to do anything anymore. They don't even want us to lose weight on our own anymore. And that felt reinforced with the Ring camera ad. Like at first I feel like I was just putting on my little tinfoil hat, but then I saw the Ring camera commercial about the lost dogs. And not only is that asking for like us to report on our neighbors and turning our communities into like a surveillance state, they don't even want us doing it. They don't want us telling on our neighbors. They want us to let the robots tell on our neighbors. And something so sinister kind of washed over me, and I know this is still a very tinfoil hat of me, but it's like they don't even want us to be evil anymore. They don't want us to be depressed and self-hating anymore. They don't want us to be anything anymore but like little cogs in the work machine. Like all of the ads are trying to give us an ED so that the magic little pill can fix the ED. Meanwhile, that magic little pill just keeps us from feeling hungry so that we don't notice that they're starving us the whole time. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Copilot are doing all of our thinking for us, literally as much as it possibly can, so that our brains literally rot inside of our heads, and then all we're left to do is the manual labor that the AI can't do. Meanwhile, it's literally making us too stupid to notice the propaganda right in our faces, literally smacking us across the eyeballs with it, so that we just become complacent with the way that things are. We have to trust the government to guide us because we're not smart enough to know any better.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from whatever you are watching this video from. Now, I just want to address one thing, and I said it. Honestly, black people should know one thing. Black people should know that they don't have a friend. They don't have a friend. The only people that comes close to them are people that definitely want something from them. And history has proven this. This is not something which is new. This is not a skyrocket science. This is a no-brainer. I mean, it is evident. Because tell me, if this is a Black History Month and black people are trying to fend for themselves, black people are talking highly about themselves, and black people are just saying that Black Lives Matter. And this is one thing that the United States did recognize, because systemically, the United States have not always been recognizing this. This is something which has been happening for the longest time. And we all get to see all these things happening. And then we're asking ourselves this question. When a black person gets in front and recognize the systemic issues, the systemic racism, all those things that were done to black people, when a black person stands in front of everyone and says that Black Lives Matter, does it mean that white lives doesn't matter? Does it negate that white lives doesn't matter? Or probably, I could say that you saying that because black people didn't stand for the white person that was shot by ICE. I don't know. Probably that's what you're saying. Hey, people like you are a couple of some of you that still goes out there with this kind of mentality. These are the same type of people that are the problem in your society. Because when black people say that Black Lives Matter, they don't negate the fact that white lives doesn't matter. This is a black man's history, and black people have every right to commemorate, to remember, to understand the struggles, the blood that was shed for black people to be where it is right now. Understand that if it weren't for black people, the United States wouldn't have been where it is right now. So props to black people for making it even possible for people like you to have a big mouth of saying our white lives matter. Did any place or did anywhere black people said white lives didn't matter? I've seen black people fight with you side to side. Black people, even though we are still telling black people not to go to protest, we still have black people that are ready to go to jail because of you. We still have black people that are ready to fight for you. But you with your ungrateful ass, you come on the social media and say that black people black people don't even care about white people. Since when did you white people started care about black people? Since when? That's just a question. Like, it's an honest question. Since when did you all started caring about black people? Since when? If it doesn't have something that will benefit you, 90% of the time, you only say that, or 90% of the time, you only get on social media speak. Very few white folks, like, genuinely stand for black people. Very few. Out of 100, I could point out 5 or maybe 4. Let me say 5 out of 100 that are genuinely speaking about black people. The rest of you, definitely there is something that you want from black people, right? The only chance that black people have to explain about their history, the only chance that black people, and this is the black man's history. The black man's history is the United States history, is the American history. What's the problem if black people celebrate their own history? What's the problem if black people celebrate the legends that fallen down when they were trying to fight for freedom of the black people? Black lives matter, and it will always matter. So if you have a problem with that, probably you need to go to your psychologist. Let them go to your therapist. Probably you have a problem. You need to go get checked. Really, it takes a person with a problem to say such kind of things or to think in that way. So me seeing all these things, it's really crazy and it's really diabolical. Having to see people who think in that line. Right. So brothers and sisters, I really don't know what to think and feel about this video, but it got me questioning a lot of things about all this thing with how these people think about these issues, because this is gaslight of the highest order. Of the highest order. So brothers and sisters, I really don't know what to think and feel about this. As you know, I'm your host and present stories, but until then, let me see you on my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.